best a man can get.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Monday. This is First Things First. I'm Jenna Wolf. That's the Hall of Famer Chris Carter. This is Nick Wright. Good weekend, boys.
Excellent.
I like that. That's what I like to hear. We all got a little sun. We are starting the week off strong. Russell Westbrook might have to give up his point guard duties. Steph Curry's got his eyes set on a fourth title. We are going to start, though, this morning with one Anthony Davis. The Brow officially announced as the Laker at his introductory press conference on Saturday. And when you pair a former #1 pick and six-time All-Star in Anthony Davis next to arguably the best player of all time in LeBron James, you'd think the rest of the roster would just fall into place. But there was no falling here. The Lakers strategically built a talented team around the two stars. And if you ask Anthony Davis, he'll tell you it's a pretty unstoppable team, too.
I like our roster. I like, every player that we have, from 1 through 15. Well, 14. 1 through 14. So I'm excited about it, and, I'll put our roster up against anybody. I feel like that, in the 7-game series that we'll come out victorious.
See, we'll start with you. Do you agree with Anthony Davis? Would you put this Laker roster up against anyone else's in the NBA?
Well, to be fair with Anthony Davis, the one thing that he's probably looking at is there's a couple players, Rondo and Boogie Cousins, who he started with when they were in New Orleans. He thought they had a good opportunity. He wanted to bring Boogie Cousins back when Boogie Cousins' contract was up because he felt good about the way, especially the both of them. Both of them had spectacular seasons together. So if you look at if Rondo happened to be a starter, so now I have what I had in New Orleans, plus LeBron, plus Kuz, and some of these other veterans coming off the bench. I could see why he'd think this is definitely the best roster he's ever been on. So I could understand that. LeBron's playoff experience, LeBron's championship experience being with the Lakers, I could understand that. But the thing is, we're not going to know about this till the end of the season because just like we crowned Toronto world champ, we didn't know that they were going to buy in. We didn't know they were going to have Gasol trading him late and he was going to be so effective. We didn't know. Serge Ibaka, you know something? He wants to be a starter. Will he buy in and coming off the bench? Oh, he did it. And he did it well, providing leadership for them, too, with that second unit. So they have an opportunity. But this is about winning games, about championship. It's not about who's the best on paper. And they're going to have to get a number of veteran players to buy in to the team concept and what is best for the Lakers. Then they have the chance to fight for a championship. And whoever wins the championship is the best team. They're not giving out no paper champs for, who's the best team on paper.
And when Anthony Davis says 1 through 14, the best roster is not determined by 1 through 14. It's really 1 through 8, sometimes 1 through 7. Because in the playoffs, that's as many guys as you're going to play real minutes. And to Chris's point, once you get past the top 6 guys 7, sometimes guys 7 and 8, are guys that are not currently on the roster. Marc Gasol was one of the 4 most important Raptors. He was not on the roster at the beginning of the year. We know the Lakers, while they might not be able to make a midseason trade, they will be active in the buyout market, whether it's Kyle Korver, Andre Iguodala, or someone we haven't discussed. So when I think about the Lakers roster, it's how do their top 6 guys that are on the roster right now compare to the other best teams in the West? So the Lakers' top 6 guys, regardless of position, LeBron, Anthony Davis, Kyle Kuzma, Danny Green, Boogie Cousins, Avery Bradley. That's not talking about Rondo. That's not talking about KCP.
I like
just
that.
Their top 6. So the top 6 for the Clippers: Kawhi, Paul George, Lou Williams, Pat Beverly, Montrezl Harrell, Mo Harkless. You can make an argument defensively for the Clippers. I think offensively the Lakers seem to be the stronger unit. What about the Rockets, though? Harden, Russ, Eric Gordon, P.J. Tucker, Clint Capella, Austin Rivers. That's a team where if the Harden and Russ thing, that's a big if, fits, everyone else knows their role exactly. Philly has 6 strong guys. Now, their problem is they only have 6 strong guys. They desperately need to be involved in either the trade market or the buyout market. So I don't think right now there is a clear-cut best roster in the NBA. That's why it's the most wide open it's been, as you said, in 15 years. That's why Vegas doesn't have a clear favorite, because we don't have a Warriors. We don't even have a Cavs of a few years ago where it's like after the Warriors, the Cavs are clearly the best. There's to me, 5 teams in the Lakers, Clippers, Rockets, Sixers, and Bucks, you can make a really strong case for. And then there's the Jazz and the Nuggets who are saying, don't forget about us. We really do go 10 people deep. So that's when you got a quarter of the league that I think if we did Family Feud style, you would get at least some votes for. That's where it's this wide open. But the Lakers roster, what it does have, if people know their roles, is I believe the most upside of any roster in basketball.
Because definitely Denver, Utah, they're going to play a more of a team concept.
Yes.
And you know those teams are going to buy in. Portland, on the outside of that, they're going to have big buy-in from their roster because of their leadership there. So I thought you brought up some great points as far as who's going to buy in. And the rest of that roster might not in the playoffs, but it will help you get through an 82-game schedule.
Well, that rest of the roster, just real quick, that is why even if you don't have Denver or Utah, teams such as those winning the title, those teams are going to be the most likely to have the path to the title go through their stadiums. Because while I'm only worried about 1 through 7.5 for the playoffs, through the regular season, it really is 1 through 11 or 12. And those teams that have legitimate, viable rotation players as an entire second unit. That's how the Raptors last year went 17-5 in the games without Kawhi Leonard, because they had the depth, and that's how they made sure they started out at home in every playoff series they played except for the one against the Bucks.
So you guys both echoed the same thing. Know your roles exactly to be successful on this team and buy into what's best for the team as opposed to what's best for you. But then, and this is something we'll get into a little bit later, we talk about, well, is it best for the team for a guy like Anthony Davis to play the 4 or 5? Is it best for LeBron James to play the point guard? Or is it what's best for the specific player? I think you have a little bit of a difference there. What's best for the team and what's best for the player? How do you make all of that work?
Well, Anthony Davis, for the people in L.A. who've never interviewed him, this is not anything new. And when people were saying, oh, he should play the 5, I had told you. He's always said, I don't want to play the 5. I don't want to be a 5. I don't want to be categorized as a 5. So to me, that's not new information.
But what if that's best for the team?
What's best for that player when you trade for him is what's best for that player is most important. Okay. When he came to the Lakers, they traded all those assets. Now, he will play a 5 role because there are sometimes they'll have units out there. But he has been on record. Why would you trade for someone that said, hey, I don't want to do this, and then you're getting ready to force them to do it? That doesn't make sense. That's not the star type of treatment. They should build a team around him with the respect what he's gone on record as saying a number of years ago.
And listen, it's not ideal as far as if you were just building this team from 20,000 feet, that Anthony Davis is probably only going to finish games as the 5 as opposed to start and finish games at the 5. But Chris's point is correct in that this is not new information. The Lakers knew that, and it's something I think he is, in today's NBA, I think he would be the most devastating stretch 5 we've ever seen, but he only wants to do that in very select roles, in spot minutes, similar to what I would say
LeBron should play in the post. I've been saying that for years, but he won't play in the post. Why? Because he doesn't want to.
The best lineup for the Lakers is honestly probably Anthony Davis at the 5 and LeBron at the 4. And that might be how they close. They might close with LeBron being the second biggest person on the court, Kuzma 3rd, and then a couple of shooters with Anthony Davis as the 5. But it's not the position, even if it's the position I think they're best served with him playing, especially given their roster, let you have Boogie come off the bench, run that second unit. There's a lot of reasons for it. But if the guy who you are building the future of your franchise around,
if that's not what he wants to play.
He doesn't want to, and it's not like he's not effective as a 4.
Right.
He's wildly effective as a 4. I just think in today's NBA, he'd be best as a 5, but he don't want to do it.
Okay. All right, we'll talk more about positioning for the Lakers coming up. But on the other side, hey, why is Melvin Gordon comparing himself to Ezekiel Elliott? Talk some football next on FS1. You can always check us out on the Fox Sports channel on Sirius XM. We'll be right back after this.
I think because they went to the Big Ten together. That's the only thing I can see.